Ding.
Thanks for that, Carol. Stop.
Wait a minute. There's only room for one countdown queen. One countdown queen. Some more. It's me. I'm Marianne Mashiri, the news presenter with the happy fingers. Yes, the real countdown queen is here. Wig off, moustache off. Okay. What are you laughing at? Guys, can I get a countdown, please? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Oh, sorry. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, everyone. You do it. I can't do it. Auntie is literally watching. Hello, how are you?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Hello, this is Straight Talking. I'm Marianne Mashiri. In this special report, I come face to face one of the most appalling people in the history of British television. And his name is Joe Lycett. Among his crimes, he's responsible for the relentless bullying of 2 middle-aged Birmingham women.
They deserve it.
Just this week, he dressed up in a ridiculous costume at the BAFTAs in order to steal an award that rightfully belonged to Anton Deck.
Yeah, fair enough.
And worst of all, he placed fake news stories in the press that made British journalists, not me mind, look a bit silly. Joe Lycett, do you have anything to say in your defence? No, auto cue, please. Thank you.
Good. Well done.
Hello, it's me, ASM Arsehole, and welcome to my cafe, Mummy's Greasy Meats. And this is the menu. The mega breakfast with tea/coffee. X2 sauce. X2 bacon. Egg X2. Beans. Toms. Black pudding. Hash brown. Fried bread. And mushrooms with bread and butter. £9. Large breakfast. Sauce, bacon, egg, beans, Tom's, mushrooms, black pudding, fried bread with bread and butter. £6.50. Small breakfast. Bacon, sauce, egg, beans and Tom's, fried bread and butter. I think that's a £5.50. And then the vegetarian breakfast. Linda McCartry sausage. The driest of all the sausages. With mushrooms, egg, beans, Tom's, hash and brown. With bread and butter. £6.50. Watch Late Night Lycett, or I will find you. And I'll just ask you to watch Late Night Lycett again on Channel 4.
Hello. Hello, Richard, you bigoted ballsack with eyes.
Lovely stuff. What's the weather like?
Well, I thought we might look at the US this week. On the eastern seaboard, things are looking rather stormy, especially if you're a balding orange sex pest with a cashew nut for a penis. And I can see that you're still not listening to a single thing I actually say. Hello, Richard. Students, lesbians, gender-neutral toilets, Gareth Southgate taking a knee, Meghan Markle.
Language! Don't you dare say that.
Oh my God, we've actually broken through. Okay, Richard, stay with me, okay? This whole time, I've just wanted you to notice me, and I know I've been insulting you a lot, but it's because it's just a mask for a lot of deep down, very sexual desires.
I feel exactly the same. I feel the same, John.
You are the man of my dreams, Richard. You're so strong and you're so smart, and you always leave the toilet seat up, which, as a transgender woman, I really appreciate. And I just want to feel your moustache pricking every single part of my body, including the one you're thinking of right now.
My darling, shall we kiss?
Of course not. I'm taking the piss, you prick.
Introducing the greatest painting I have ever done. It is The Mona Lisa Scott Lee. Make no mistake, this moment is a cultural renaissance. It's unclear to us what she's smiling about. It could be maybe that H has told her something amusing, or maybe Claire has tripped up. There are so many questions. For example, why are her arms also Greg's sausage rolls? We will never know. Why is she holding the sacred text? Cheryl's My Story. One day we met Roman Abramovich, who told me he was planning to climb Kilimanjaro. That's an actual quote. He told me he's climbing Kilimanjaro. I've got to read this. The painting is one of the main pieces in Joe Lycett's art hall. If you don't like this painting, sorry, you're wrong, because she is doing a tour of national galleries, starting at the National Portrait Gallery. They liked it so much they sent me a DM. Critics have said the artwork is best forgotten, but it's truly unlike anything we've seen in our 168-year history. Although we do think you could have used a deeper shade of blue. Then she goes to the Royal Academy in London. Then she tours around the UK. She goes to Bath, Bristol, Manchester, Nottingham, Wolverhampton, ending in the Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery. This painting. In the meantime, you can enjoy her in this internet way.
Hello, Richard. You gammon-shaped waste of a moustache.
Oh, it's great to have her back.
And you still don't listen to a single thing I actually say because you're too busy staring at my tits.
What a wonderful story. I confess I didn't take it all in. I was mesmerised by the girls there.
Thank you, Richard. They're made of silicone. Just like the fleshlight you keep in the glove box of your Kia Picanto, so you can pleasure yourself in the car park of Battersea Dogs Home.
Lovely. And what's the weather like this week, Jordan?
Well, as you can see, there's a deep depression all over the country, which the government has just announced it will no longer be giving benefits for. There will be a small amount of hope rising over the weekend as council election results continue to come in, followed by a fresh front of anxiety battering the UK as we realise we're in for 5 years of Keir Starmer. Slowly letting down the country so the UK soon resembles nothing more than a punctured bouncy castle covered in racist graffiti and human sick.
Gorgeous stuff. Gorgeous stuff. If I still had a wife, I'd leave her. Jordan Gray, everyone. Lovely stuff.
Lord Alan Sugar and I are two raging bulls locked in a perpetual and never-ending feud. I met him briefly once at a recording of the TV programme The Apprentice, You're Fired. He was rude and dismissive, and from that moment I was delirious with the desire to paint him. 10 years came and went when my phone pinged with a message from none other than Lord Sugar, saying that as it happens he was filming The Apprentice in Birmingham that day, but that the episode was dragging on fucking longer than my fucking arse. That's my impression of Alan Sugar, which I didn't really understand as a phrase. I told him he'd be very welcome for a glass of something fizzy, and he replied straight away, "Do you have crisps?" So I wrote, "Yes, I have crisps," and he said, "What sort of crisps?" And I said, McCoy's, sorry, I've forgotten who I am there. McCoy's crisps. And he wrote, "What flavour of McCoy's crisps?" And I said, "Flame grilled steak and cheddar and onion McCoy's crisps. And actually, I've got one bag of the Chip Shop's curry sauce flavour too." He was there within 20 minutes. Fun fact, Alan Sugar loves crisps, and I actually found his bank statement from Crisps Bank, and it's just all crisps. 90 grand on knickknacks there, a full mill on quavers. His mood was more jocular on this occasion, making cheeky little jokes and nibbling his crisps. He'd say things like, "I'm just going to run to the loo. No, actually, I'll walk," and then giggle to himself, giddy with delight. It was lucky I'd bought a multi-pack of crisps, because he must have got through 6 or 7 bags, all while skittishly sliding along the kitchen tiles in his socks. Eventually, I punctured the convivial mood with a question that silenced him. "Might you sit for a painting, Lord Sugar?" He stopped in his tracks, crunched the crisp that was still in his mouth purposefully, swallowed, then said, "You fucking what?" "I mean, we don't have to. I like to paint." "I'm just joshing with you, you fucking art nonce. I'd love to." He giggled again. The relief was intense. I beckoned him towards an armchair, but he had other ideas. "Nah, fuck that. I'm going to hide." This is all true. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Try and paint me while I hide. Paint you while you hide? How would I even... It was too late. He was already jaunting up the stairs, chuckling to himself like a little gremlin. Brackets from the film Gremlins. I heard his animated footsteps above me on the landing like the excitable scuttling of a toddler on Christmas morning. I shouted up, "Alan, come on now, don't be silly." I could hear things falling off shelves. "Catch me, you fucker," came the impish reply. followed by more pitter-patter and the turning of doorknobs. "You're a fucking postman," he yelped. Then, "Your dad is good with electrics, but probably couldn't do a full rewire." I don't understand what that means. I have learnt from occasionally looking after my friends' children and through various engagements with Rob Beckett that you cannot pander to this sort of behaviour. You must ignore it. I retired to the kitchen. I sat and sipped my wine, hoping he would eventually run out of steam. But the sniggering upstairs crescendoed with every passing moment. More doors opening, things falling, a couple of smashes, a couple of cries of, "Put the heating on, you pedo!" before the man stopped. Followed by about 4 minutes of total and concerning silence. Then 3 sinister taps, as if from a fingernail on glass. Where was it coming from? 3 more, followed by tittering that sounded like it was coming from outside. I glanced out at the garden, at the restless summer afternoon, lengthened shadows under a blue sky. No one was there. Another chuckle. It was coming from above. I looked up, and there in the dwindling afternoon, in my kitchen skylight, was Lord Alan Sugar, squealing with delight. "You fucking found me!" He beamed. I imagine that's how he laughs. I cannot underestimate, dear reader, for him to have required some considerable gymnastics. That skylight is normally only accessible via a tall ladder. "Don't move," I shouted. "I'll paint you in that exact position." As I looked above at him, despite being at least 12 feet away and through a sheet of bulletproof glass, installed for security purposes after a threatening message from Sue Barker. In some strange way, I felt we were closer than ever. He seemed so vulnerable. The resulting painting is this. I'm sure you'll agree. It's a remarkable and accomplished feat of artistic engineering. Lord Sugar's expression became far less amused as he had to remain in position on top of my kitchen skylight for 3 hours. He was cold and had run out of crisps, so he was eating the moss from my roof tiles. I think it's a more accurate depiction of the man than any I have seen. He left quietly, leaving 10 grand in cash on the kitchen counter for any damages before being collected by a Toyota Yaris. An Uber pool that I believe dropped everyone else off first. Thank you very much. That's the Alan Sugar chapter. Thank you.
This is my art hole, 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 come into my art hole.
Aunties. I'm Auntie Margaret. And I'm Auntie Pauline. I'm the oldest. I have to calm her down a lot. We'd like to review Joe's outfits. What's he got on there, Paul? I actually quite like that one. It's got teddy bears on it. Goes with the tablecloth. Well, I suppose he could blend in, couldn't he? Yeah. That's nice. That looks very professional. Showman. Oh, he's a bit like a clown. I thought that was Batman. He looks a clown in that one. He is a clown. I like that one. That was a bit classy last week. And the shoes. The shoes were amazing. Yeah. I could have worn those shoes. I could if you'd have got our size. Oh my God. Crochet jacket. It looks so hot and bothered. It was. It was like a blanket. I think that looked better on the telly than it did in real life. Yeah. Oh, what's he got on there? It looks like a freaking bogey, that does. Oh my goodness. Joe. Good job our mum's not hearing it. Oh my God, wow. Move on. The curtains. Oh no. Do you remember them in our mum's lounge? I do. Yeah? Exactly like that. Yeah. Pair of curtains. God. No, not good. No. Not to worry, we look forward to see what he's getting on in the future. Well, that's what's nice. Maybe he might improve. That's what's nice about every show. We don't know what he's going to wear.
Hello there, it's time for some late night Saturday fucking gardening with fucking Hugo Boss. And what I'm doing here is I'm just making a little hole in a little compost tray, I suppose. A couple of little holes. I'm going to have a couple of goes at this. And then look at this. These are a couple of old fucking sweet corn which I bought from the garden centre. And literally, all you do is just pop this old fucking corn in there. Cover that fucking prick up. We'll do the same with this little fucker as well. Cover that fucker up there. Got this little guy, so I know what it is. Pop this fucking prick in here. I'm going to give them more water, and supposedly that'll turn into fucking sweet corn. What?
Today was meant to be a good day.
Where is she?
A happy day. And it's been ruined. I'm here at Birmingham's Alexandra Theatre to introduce some of the cast of Here and Now, the Steps musical, to the Mona Lisa Scott Lee. I'm here with the Mona Lisa Scott Lee and the cast of Here and Now. There she is. Tell us tell me about this musical. It sounds fantastic.
So it's a fantastic musical, obviously featuring the songs of Steps.
Yes. Set in a discounted supermarket.
Yeah, it's written by the fantastic Sean Kitchener,
directed by Rachel Kavanagh,
and we're opening on the 9th of November.
Yes, so the dates are
Yes.
the 9th of November through to when?
The
When's
3rd
it
of December.
The 3rd of December. So there you go. Go and watch Here and Now.
At the Birmingham Alexandra.
At the Birmingham Alexander.
That's it.
And you might even spot Lisa Scott Lee.
Kids.
She's gone. Hang on. Nobody's picked her up. She was literally just there. Where's she gone? It's like this is not a joke. This is such an important painting to me.
I know. I think so.
Someone has stolen the Mona Lisa Scott Lee. Who would do this?
Yes, no, I have a serious respiratory problems, that's because of the bloody COVID vaccine, which, as we all know, was designed by Gary Lineker to everyone poof it. It hasn't worked on me, oh no, because as they gave me the injection, I was singing the national anthem. And looking at a picture of Margaret Thatcher.
Keep reading.
Hello there, got a new TikTok filter for you. It's the Joe Lycett Hun Shuffle. One of these loose women spinning on my forehead will be doing one of the activities spinning on my chin. And you can have a go. Let's nod for, we've got Gloria Hunniford, and she will be, and you tap, bobsleighing around a garden centre. Could be happening on Friday, 10 p.m, Channel 4. Let's have another go. Colleen Nolan will be vacuuming a little. Could happen. One more. Linda Robson will be chairing a parish council meeting. Have a go. The filter's available now. See if you can predict what will be happening live on Channel 4. I just don't know how this has happened. I'm really worried about it.
It's all right. We've got CCTV.
Okay, it looks like they've not found it. Who is that? Oh my God, who is that toe rag? Lisa, no! Going so casually down the stairs, not a thought for my heartbreak. Can we follow him? And straight out onto the dirty streets with her. Yes, okay, we don't need to see this bit. I was upset. Thank you.
Scoop, by the way. This is the person who took it. Does anyone have any theories? Alan Sugar. Okay, so a few people on social media saying that looks like Alan Sugar. Don't think it is, but it looks like Alan Sugar. Well, this is a scoop, by the way. We had an update from someone who works at Marylebone train station who found a discarded email. A new clue, no one's seen this before. It's a confirmation of an Alan Sugar lookalike booking. So if anyone has any information, you can go on joelycett.com, and I would like to know who has stolen her and where they are keeping her. There is a reward. Good morning. The Mona Lisa Scott Lee has been missing for over 4 days now. I need to reiterate, we have to get her back to the National Portrait Gallery in London by 1 p.m. on Thursday for her first tour date. Will I get her back in plenty of time, or will things conveniently come right down to the wire? Who knows? It's a sneeze! It's a sneeze! It's a sneeze! I originally suspected that Lord Alan Sugar was the criminal, but we now know that it was a look-alike, and one that also looked a bit like Bob Mortimer and Ed Davey, apparently. So we were back to square one. Next suspect, Paul Chuckle, because the person who booked the Alan Sugar look-alike signed off their email from me to you. We discussed this in London at my show last night. Huge development. The Royal Academy have now banned Paul Chuckle from their gallery. I'm going to sneeze again. I'm going to cut. Well, I put your allegations to Paul direct, and here's the video he sent me in reply.
Oh dear. People think I've stolen the Mona Lisa Scott Lee, and the Royal Academy have banned me now. I can't believe it. I tell you what, I would never steal it, and I'm going to go down and help you in London at the Royal Academy. I'm going to be there, Joe, don't you worry, I'll be there on Thursday. I'll find it for you.
Very much feels like the first take of that script I sent him, doesn't it?
Is that my portrait? Is he actually going to give it me physically?
Alison Hammond is now the prime suspect in the case of the theft of the Mona Lisa Scott Lee. She talked about my art on This Morning. Let's take a look at her body language for clues.
I hope they have the portrait that Joe Lycett did of you. I mean, he's done this
Oh,
portrait.
little
Is
tucked
that
away
my
hand there.
portrait?
She's hiding
Is he actually going to
something.
give it me physically? Or is it just
Here she's disguising her hatred of me by pretending to want to actually own my art.
in his house? Like, do I go around his
Exaggerated
house?
gestures, a sign of guilt, as is this forced eye contact. She's staring right at me here.
It's his portrait, he keeps it.
I thought I'd get a little freebie.
Interestingly enough.
A little freebie. You certainly have taken a little freebie, haven't you, Hammond? It's her, I am sure of it.
When making the book, we sort of reflected on my history, and Robert Peston actually is a huge part of my history. So he's painted in the book, and he's the ITV political correspondent, if you don't know who he is. And this is the next chapter I'd like to read to you. Ever since I was a little girl, I've been enthralled by colour. I remember bouncing on my auntie's knee in the dappled sunlight of our family garden in South Birmingham as she patiently pointed at the flowers and asked me to identify the shade of each one in turn. Sapphire! Gamboge! Cerulean! I thought I was just making adorable noises. It transpires I was actually born with an innate understanding of pigments. My auntie was obsessed with colour in a different way. She was a racist. But those halcyon days beneath the pear trees would form the boy, and then the teenager, and then the teen, and then the young woman, and now the disgraced man I have become today. It's not been an easy journey. In the hot summer of 1994, around my 6th birthday, my parents took me on a trip to London to kickstart my career in show business. I had a beautiful and an angelic singing voice, which was once described by the pre-audition team on The X Factor as nice but not quite right. And so my mother and father strongly believed I could and should be a child star. Having grown up in Birmingham, the bright lights of the capital seemed brighter than any I had seen. London was way different back then. No mobile phones, no Elizabeth line, no congestion charging zone. You didn't really have to respect women, and no one would judge you if you kicked a gay person over. Simpler, happier times. No branches of Leon, Wasabi, or Five Guys, but there was, as there is now, and has always been, and is now, a Boots. As there always was. The young Joe Lycett stood outside Boots' Piccadilly Circus branch, clutching his mother's hand with his mouth wide open, in complete flabbergasted wonder at the size and stature of that extraordinary branch. My mouth was also open because I'm asthmatic, and it makes it easier to breathe. To that boy entering it, it was as if entering something else really big, like a car park or a field, but that car park or field is a Boots. Also perusing the shelves of Boots that day, picking up some ibuprofen and a sandwich, was Robert Peston. At that time, he was working at the Financial Times, a thin, bespectacled man with a perennial look of concern on his face. Fate colluded that day so that both Peston and I found ourselves staring into the famous long Boots sandwich fridge at exactly the same moment. There's a lot of sandwiches, aren't there, little fella? That's my impression of Peston. He said, smiling down at me. He was stood next to and clearly angling for a prawn sandwich. I clung to my mother's leg, saying nothing. Oh, yes, there are a lot of sandwiches. You like sandwiches, don't you? She said, encouraging me to engage. Yet I sensed from subtle movements in her leg that she too was brimming with fear.
I nodded, that's all I had. Words had become as elusive to me as the meaning of the universe, or the reason that Eamon Holmes does what he does. And what sort of sandwiches do you like, chap? Peston was trying his best. Chicken? I shook my head. Oh, okay. Cheese ploughmans? I shook it again. He had only one option left. Prawn? I didn't even really like prawns, but in that moment the sound of the word was almost soothing. I nodded enthusiastically. Robert let out a deep sound resembling an O, but it was more abstract than that. Well, that is a surprise. I didn't think you liked prawns, said Mother, effortlessly transforming from caregiver to snitch. Gosh, okay, well, that does put us in quite a quandary, because I too was hoping for a prawn sandwich, and I don't know if you've noticed, but there's only one prawn sandwich left. He literally had his hand on the fucking thing. My eyes darted round the fridge like darts in a fridge. The bastard was right, only one prawn sandwich, Peston's fingers already caressing the waxy cardboard box. I'm sure you can have a different sandwich, little Joe. You like cheese, don't you? My mother had now assumed the role of his chief negotiator. The woman had thrown me under the bus. Brackets, this is a turn of phrase, and for legal reasons I should clarify my mother has never once thrown me under a bus, but did once try and push me into a canal. Oh, I can go and find somewhere else to get one, Peston said, unconvincingly. The saliva was practically dripping out of the guy's mouth for that prawn sandwich. Don't be silly, Joe doesn't even really like prawns. You take it honestly, said the scab, my mother. Cheers, little fella, he said as he floated away gleefully holding what I will forever consider to be my prawn sandwich. The rest of the trip to London was completely ruined. I refused any other sort of sandwich, and Mum started ignoring me, which I later learned is a parenting technique. She's since tried to convince me that pushing me into a canal is a parenting technique, but I'm yet to have that backed up with empirical data. I refused to participate in all the auditions, never got my chance to play ensemble in Oliver, or ensemble in Billy Elliot, or Annie in Annie, and what's more, I'd become undeniably obsessed with prawns. On one day alone, I estimate I ate approximately 300 prawns. This is all true. This is a very sad story for me. I began to throw them back like roasted nuts. They don't tell you on the packaging because they presume you're only going to have a few, but eating 300 prawns is really bad for you. I began to take time out of school, missing out on further sporting and academic opportunities, and my friendship group dwindled to one lad called Andy. Brackets, his dad was a fishmonger. My parents remortgaged the house to fund my addiction and eventually became financially destitute, until my father decided to buy some shares in the hope they might pull us out of the hole that we were in, and so he picked up a copy of the Financial Times. The details are blurry, but Mum spotted Peston's picture in the paper and put two and two together, and in their desperation my parents decided to sue, using the company who had the television adverts where the woman with the vile fringe slips over at work and it isn't her fault. She has no one but herself to blame for the fringe. To this day, not a penny has been clawed back. Peston's team have put most of their eggs in the basket of Mum saying that I didn't like prawn sandwiches, but annoyingly, if we don't win the case, we have to pay our legal fees and Peston's as well, so I believe the plan is to keep appealing until he dies. To recoup some of the fees, I did this painting of Peston in jail where he belongs, for scuppering my chances of childhood stardom. The painting was purchased for £8 million by Steph McGovern. All true. A few years after that first encounter with Peston, whilst walking along one of Birmingham's canals, Mum asked me what I wanted for lunch, and I said prawns, and in what she later described to the social services as an unfortunate, ill-tempered moment, pushed me into the water saying, "See if you can find any in there, you little twat." It's the Peston chapter. Thank you very much. Thank you.
This is my art hole, 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 this is my art hole.
The number you have dialed is not available at present. Please leave your message after the beep.
Yeah, trendsetter, whoa, league of my own, it don't get better. No, read what I wrote, I'm a bestseller. Yeah, reach for my goals, hit it dead center.
I work in a bakery.
What do you do in the bakery?
I like serve.
Martin! 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 Alison Hammond has a goddamn alibi. So I've just got this from Rosie Jones. It turns out Alison Hammond was leading a workshop on needlepoint at the ITV Staff Club on Thursday at the exact same time the painting was handed over.
And I've literally just had a message from Lorraine Kelly backing her up.
So we're entirely screwed. We're back to square one, and we've got to find the painting by the time it's due to go on display at the National Portrait Gallery on Thursday at 1 p.m. We haven't got long. What do we know? We know it's someone I've painted in the past, but we've ruled out Alison Hammond, Alan Sugar and Paul Chuckle. In fact, Paul's very kindly going to help me with the hunt later in the week. We know there's a reward, £500 and a special edition copy of my new book, Art Hole, to someone who works out who has the painting and where they're hiding it. Oh, and we know all the clues are online. That's how we're going to crack this. So take a look at the celebrities I've painted, take a look around Instagram, take a look at people I know, people from the West Midlands, and take another look at the clues we found so far. They're all on the website, and if you think you've cracked it, head to joelycett.com. We must get back the Mona Lisa Scotland.
Hello, I'm Richard Yewtree. Nothing was proved. And this is Straight Talking, the show where straight people get to have their say. Straight people like me, Richard Yewtree. In fact, I can prove how straight I am because I'm sitting next to a woman right now, and under this desk I've got wood as big as the Sycamore Gap. With me is Lorraine Kelly.
Hello.
Wasn't expecting that, to be honest. Wasn't expecting that. It's called TV presenting, love. Watch and learn. Our top story, Rishi Sunak has passed his long-awaited Rwanda bill. Your thoughts, Lorraine?
Rubbish.
If you could direct your eyes to the auto cue.
Bad.
If you just read what it says under the name Lorraine.
Richard, I'm Lorraine Kelly. If there are 3 things I love, those things are sofas, showbiz gossip. Deporting immigrants to Rwanda. They're a menace to this country. And you know the worst of the lot, Bruno Tonioli. I can't stand that mincing, soft shoe shuffling, you silly fister coming over here and stealing jobs that could be done by hard-working British people like Antoine Dubé. The Rwanda plan is going to solve all our problems. Hospitals and schools falling apart doesn't matter. We've got a Rwanda plan. Potholes in the road? Who cares? We've got a Rwanda plan. Birmingham City Council going completely bankrupt. Fuck every single person in Birmingham. We've got a Rwanda plan.
Lovely stuff, Lorraine. You took the words right out of my mouth there.
Mona Lisa Scotland has been stolen.
It's taken over my life.
And we have to get it back in the next 40 minutes.
But I need my painting back. Paul Chuckle's here!
Oh, Joe, I'm just having a sandwich.
I think the Mona Lisa Scotland is in Canada's High Commission.
Canada High Commission.
I thought you were talking about my agent.
And mine, Paul. Lovely stuff. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This is 18 minutes ago. Is this what you're looking for?
Yeah.
Run, Paul, run!
I can't run, there's traffic. Look like that. Big staircase. I'll go up there.
You've been the Canadian Embassy, Paul. Someone's just commented, this is how wars start. oh, it's behind you, Paul. It's behind you, it's behind you.
I'm not in pantomime yet, that's in Nottingham in December.
Your theory is that the Mona Lisa Scotland is hidden behind that painting.
Well, if it isn't, I'll spoil the painting.
If it's not, then you're going to jail, probably.
Pardon?
It's loose.
It's there!
Paul Chuckle walking out of the Canadian High Commission into the streets for Nottingham, Wolverhampton Art Gallery. People are cheering in the streets for it. Oh, he's got his foot in a bucket! He's here! He's here! He's made it! Hang on, let me get that bucket off. She's back. She's back here at the National Portrait Gallery in London, and Paul Chuckle retrieved her.
Hello there. Recently, I've been through a very traumatic series of events. I painted the greatest masterpiece of the 21st century, only to have it stolen during a meet and greet with the cast of the New Steps musical. Clues were scattered across the internet as to its whereabouts and whose abouts took it. It sounds like a made-up series of events when you cycle back through it, but I can assure you that this online promotional event really happened. Internet sleuth Laura managed to untangle the whole mystery, and after being randomly chosen from a pool of correct entries, joined me on Instagram Live to help guide Paul Chuckle to retrieve the painting from the Canadian Embassy in London, returning her just in time for a pre-planned book signing at the National Portrait Gallery. Out of everyone who got it right, Laura was first in our random draw. Here's how she did it.
First of all, you remembered that Robert Peston was a possible suspect because I'd painted him in 2022 and gave the portrait to Laura Koonsberg. Next, you discovered Robert's Instagram account and realised he was a struggling painter, going by the suspicious name of Rob Art Peston. You knew he must be the villain when you spotted the Rob Art Peston painting of a green-eyed monster with the caption "Mummy." Clearly he was jealous of my success. Robert's guilt was confirmed when you realised the decoy lookalike was booked in an attempt to incriminate Alan Sugar. You signed. And it had been emailed by G-Peck. Now, I'm not sure anyone understood this clue, but I think G-Peck is Jill Peck, who is the hero in Robert Peston's novels. When Robert confirmed himself as the villain, he said his painting was in the care of another nation. Unlike most people, this didn't confuse you, Laura. You realised it could still be nearby and not in another country. You found an Instagram story that Catherine Ryan had posted last week in which she said she was proud to have been asked to choose a painting to display at Canada House, which, as a diplomatic mission, is the care of another nation. That led you to a post on Canada House's grid, where a painting of Catherine's hometown was seen in the background, Sarnia. Upon further inspection, the painting was in the same gold frame as the Mona Lisa Scott Lee. When you looked back at the Rob Art Peston account and saw the very same painting of the Blue Water Bridge, it had been painted by our thief. Robert must have created the painting so that Catherine would love it and chose to put it up at the High Commission. We sent Paul Chuckle in to investigate, and sure enough, he tore away Robert's awful, villainous, tainted artwork and revealed the glorious Mona Lisa Scott Lee behind.
Yeah.
Well done, Laura.
Well done, everyone who worked it out. Loads of you got in touch. I loved going through all the comments. I just want to thank everyone who played along. The Mona Lisa Scott Lee has been touring. She now goes to Birmingham Museum and Art Gallery for an extended stay from the 22nd of October. And she also features in Joe Lycett's Art Hole, which is out now in all good bookshops. I'll find it for you. She looks ever so nice in here. There she is. Beautiful, beautiful.